Hello folks, welcome to the Actus part 2, the Actus that's not an Actus. I left it all stripped down in my last video, all washed and clean, which I had some issues with. And my first job after a clean is the mainspring. I'll either put a new one in, which I do quite often, but sometimes if I can't see anything wrong with the spring, I'll reuse it, which I'm going to do here. So I'm trying to capture me. It's the tool you use, a mainspring winding tool. I've got a set for various sizes from China, obviously. And this is me using it. It were awkward at first. I had a few disasters, springs bouncing off and jumping around watch room. But I've pretty much got it nailed now. I know what to look for. And obviously with Seiko's, I use the same one, so I've marked it up. So you can see the handle there on the left, that brass handle, and it fits in. You've got like a barrel and a handle, and you hook it on, and you literally just wind it in. You've got a small bridle, which is like a hook on the end where it's bent, well, soldered on, little tag. And you wind it up to that, hold it in, and then just shove that bridle on because it's got a bit of a lip, and if you don't get it right. This bit's easy. Once it's hooked on, it's quite easy. This bit's a pain in the bum. You've got to watch it. You've got to pull it out, but not pull the centre where it's hooked around your shaft. You can't pull it out. I have done before. You just get a ball of metal, and it's bloody knackered. So you can see me just encouraging it to come out. Once you get it halfway, you're laughing because it's got a bit of a taper on, and then you'll see it's all coiled in that barrel there. It's the wrong way around there because you're going to transfer it to your mainspring barrel. So that's it. That's all nice and secure. You've seen me lubricate the barrel, which you do. You have to put some braking grease around the sides and just a bit inside the main thing just to keep it wet. And then this is a good bit, you just pop and it just transfers from one into the other. And then you stick your barrel arbor in and put your lid on, which I don't do here because I will be honest, the barrel lid pinged off, and I found it on my patio outside. It had actually pinged off and gone through the window, maybe a bedroom window. So I found it next day when I was jet washing my push bike. There you go. Obviously, I used a spare part on this, but it's not. There's a lot to go through on this watch. I had some serious adventures with this one, so I'm skitting through a hell of a lot. When I get to the bit where I had the major problems, I do have to be quite severe on the editing because I lost my way a bit as well. But anyway, more of that later. So it's all stripped down. When I washed it in my wash machine, it was okay, but it come out all brown and spotty, like little brown spots on. So I think my solution's getting ready to be replaced, which is a shame because it's not cheap. But I don't know. I'm going to try it one more time. I didn't take the keyless works off because there was no need. It were all in good order, and there were no point. So I'm just lubing it up now with this proper watch grease. I believe it's all synthetic, so it doesn't degrade as quickly as other lubricants. At this point, I've got that plate on, what I showed you in the last video, on the base plate with the two pivots on. So I'm quite pleased about that. I'm glad I got that as a spare when I bought two. It's a 7S, as I said last time, a Seiko 7S, and it shouldn't be. It's not an Actus. I have one an Actus on eBay, the same age as this. This was 1972, and I've got a 1971 Actus watch coming. So my plan is that'll be my next build, and I will put the movement in there. But I have since heard that the Actus move, the 7019, is just the forerunner to the 7S, so there's not that much difference, which I was hoping to be a bit. I want to do something a little bit different, but not too abstract. I don't know why this is in slow motion, but this is my fifth attempt at voiceover, and I'm not doing it again. But there you go, we're back to normal now. So it's just a barrel in with a wide spring and a new cap. nothing to report here. We're all quite good. I'm feeling confident, but I have to tell you, I made a mistake here a little bit further on, and it had a significant part, and it dominates the rest of the video. And I didn't know till the last moment. But more of that later. I'll show you when I make that mistake. It's a mistake we all know about. I didn't think it would happen, but it did, and it's all thanks to watching one of my people I subscribe to, Weekend Watch Repair. A guy does I think it's an Actus actually. He's doing it as a giveaway. He's a lucky man. He's got 20,000 subscribers, so he gives this watch away, and it's about one of the best watches I've seen be restored. And he comments on it, and I was lying in bed watching it, and I thought, could it be? And it was. I made a really, really basic mistake, and I hadn't thought about it till I watched that video. So I got up, I got out of bed, and got to my watch bench, and I was there till about 2:30 in the morning getting it back together because I'd finally got it running. But there's a lot of work, but you learn from it, and I know now I'm going to do, when I do next time, I'm going to mark it up in a certain way till I get a bit more used to it. Just putting the going train in there. There's the escapement wheel. Yeah, that's always a bit fiddly, but I tend to like this bit, putting the drivetrain back together. When I first started watching videos, I really didn't think I would be able to do that. Now it's quite straightforward, and I'm saying that because that comes apparent a bit later on with the job I have to do shortly. But it all goes straightforward. Nothing to report. Nothing out of the ordinary at this stage. But when it goes wrong quite a bit, and I took a huge dip in repairing this watch. It's took me 3 weeks to get this watch running, and I've used all my spares, and I've used some spares. I've put them back. It's balance wheel related, of course. I do need to nail that better. It bothers me a little bit. I'm so crap. You watch I know you can edit your video, I know that, but you watch these guys drop the balance in and it runs straight away. I've done that one time. I put the balance on and it started up, but I can't see what I'm doing wrong. When I do it how they do it, I put the balance wheel over balance, so it's 180 degrees out, if you like. I'm doing something wrong, but when you're on your own, you've just got to push through it, haven't you? So that's what I do. So the top plate goes on. That top plate doesn't last. I end up replacing that. When I take the balance wheel out, one of my many hundreds of times, I catch that reducer wheel there and snap it off. So that had to come off. That was another. That was in my dark days of this watch. We certainly went through a patch where I didn't think it was going to make it, but I did. And no spoilers, but wait till you see that time grapher. You won't believe it. So you do come out the other side, and I'm better for it. I've learned I can tackle this job. I've had this a few times where what happened, it was running with the dial up, but when I turned it round into this orientation, it stopped instantly. Turn it round and it would just start again. And it was going at a good rate. I didn't measure it, but you can tell if the balancer's wheel is spinning fast or slow. And when I turned it dial up, it ran a treat. And that's not the first time that's happened to me. So I obviously know now what highly likely what it is, which I'll tell you obviously, but wait till I make that. So far at this point, I think it's very good. But I did have an unusual problem with this as well, and I'm almost a bit embarrassed to show it because it's a really low standard problem. It really shows me as not being thorough enough, but I don't know how it happened. So when you see these bits, I've downloaded a photograph and it's only on video for a split second. I don't know how it's happened. I've got a microscope. I check all the parts. I give them a good clean. Again, this had several cleans. The last one was in a water cleaning solution with ammonia and degreaser, thoroughly rinsed, and then before it even dry, I put it through my waterless rinse solutions. I've got 2 of them. So it was all thoroughly cleaned. But wait till you see this thing. It's shocking. So at the end, now I'm just putting a bit of tension on barrel and checking the wheels, right, making all the wheels are spinning freely, and you're looking for any sudden stops. And on reflection, normally you spin the barrel and it don't stop dead, but it just slows down, in a decent rate. But this didn't. This had drag, and I knew it, but I thought, no, it's fine. It's not stopping abruptly. But I do know it. So that's the pallet fork going in there. We look at that a bit later as well. And I don't know how it happened. I really don't. I don't know. Now then, at this point here, I make a huge mistake. That's the pallet fork bridge. You've got your two little screws at the side of it, holds your pallet fork in place, and that pallet fork has to flip backwards and forwards completely free. It does it several thousand times an hour. And it's a bit of an art. You have to, when you're putting the screws in, you've got to be careful you don't over tighten it, because if it's not lined up properly, it'll snap the it'll snap the pivot. And it's this point there that is the problem. That's the error. That cost me so much work. 2 weeks work, a couple hours in the evening, and just loads of, I won't call it stress, but it's just like, you get a bit fed up. And the screw's the wrong length. It's the wrong screw. The head is just a little bit bigger. I've looked at them, and the correct ones have got a flat surface that had like a semi curve on it, or a small radius, and it was catching the balance wheel, and it must have been just a tiny bit, because when it turned over, there must have been you have a little bit of end shake on these wheels, and that's it. What I do here, this is start of all sorts of efforts. What I try, I'm putting the balance wheel in. I get it so it runs on one side, not the other. And when you're just not confident in your balance wheels, you doubt everything. You think you're not putting it in right. And there was several times where I did put it in right, but it was a watch wasn't running. But it does run a little bit. It will run hands free, very, very slow. You can almost see the wheel going round. You can see the spokes of the wheel. And then somehow, I don't know, I turned it over probably just to try and look at it, and it sparked up. And well, I went down the wrong path. I didn't think about this damn screw. And I end up changing that insert, the pivot where it's insert. I get my staking set out shortly, and I do all sorts of work. I've got several different balance wheels. I have got a silver one, which I think it might be a Chinese one, and I've dropped buying them balance wheels from China because I hadn't put one what worked. But it was marked up in its case as suspect, and I tried that and I got the same results. So, but it didn't work. So this is what I'm getting. Now, if you look on that end stone there, it's in shit. It's in a really terrible condition. But look at the escapement wheel shortly. Look at that, and I've cleaned that. So you can see why I didn't want to put it in. It's very embarrassing to see. I'm sure I don't think they do, but if any watchmaker were to look at this, it'd be like, what a plonker, and he'd be right. I don't know how it's happened. I can't think for the life of me why it's happened. I don't know. I'll review my process as I put it back together. Certainly my fluids buggered, but that looks like a fibre. So this is several. I don't know. I've rebuilt it about 5 times now. I'm not getting it I've rebuilt it after the clean. That's right. I've rebuilt it after the balance wheel and the pallet wheel. I've had them on the microscope. I struggled with the pallet forks getting that edge because they're so small. They're dead tiny on the actual face of the pallet fork. So I did brush it with some hard plastic and just tried to rub it off. And I've soaked it in all sorts of things. You can't use IPA on that because you dissolve the shellac what's it's stuck with. So I'm trying. I'm fully expecting it to run at this point because I've found a huge problem with it. You know, all that bloody rubbish, all that crap. But it's running fine there. You see it running. Turn it over, and it stops in front of your eyes. So I really don't know what to do. I'm thinking balance wheels. I'm thinking main plate, but I come up with on the bottom where it fits in. It's like an insert, it's like a jewel, but it's not. It's not a jewel. So it's a strip down, and I think the pivot point at the bottom is. I think I've scored it and roughed it up by putting it in and trying it, and I think I've made a few burrs around it. So I try and I wonder if that's rubbing on the pallet on the arbor. So what I try to do is try and even it out, and then I noticed that it's an insert. You can see it there at about the sort of 9 o'clock position, that hole, basically, and that's a spare back plate I've got, and you can see the little there, just there. Look, now that's really smooth. It's a slightly different type. It's got a different die shot, but it's very smooth and new. And the other one, the part I pushed out, which came out, well, I didn't push it out. I dislodged it, so I ended up pushing it out. That was in a bad way compared to that. That was like really smooth. So I thought that was where I was getting the friction, and I might have been actually, but thinking about it now because I know what happens. So I take a hit, and I think, well, what the hell? I've got plenty of spares. Let's try and change it. So I do. I get my staking set, which is I've seldom used it. I've used it twice before, and that's remove there. So I remove it at the knackered plate. That was funny. That had all metal dissolved around the barrel wheel, looked like some acid had burned that. Anyway, you'll see it when I pushed it out. You'll see it in a minute, and that's it. And that's you can see the damage. I don't need the microscope. I do put it under the microscope when it is damaged. So I take the decision to change it, and this is heart surgery. You know, this is really critical bit. So I look at the new one under the microscope, and I'm a bit horrified by that because that looks smooth. I mean, you should see the other one. You see the other guy. But what I do, I try and buff that. Those scratches on the sides. I think that's where the pivot has been put in the past, and it's just scraped the nickel off of the brass plate. So that shouldn't affect the running. It's where it sits in the root in the bottom. So I do try and buff that up best I can, just with some. I've got some polishing sticks, and this is me pushing it out. I want to push it out. I don't want to damage it, and end up closing the hole up anymore. So I do tap it, but it's the lightest tap. With hindsight, I should have just pushed it out. I think I'd have pushed it out, but it does get tapped, and it comes out easier. Yeah. And when you look at these things, it's a bit like a top hat shape. So you've got a big flange around the top. So I'm thinking, well, it can't be that hard. How hard can it be? But that's the danger of watching all these experts doing it. So it comes out piece of cake, and you can see that bit around the top. So I'm going to put it back in and see. I've got no to lose and a day, and it's only a 7S. I will get this Actus going because it's such such a nice looking watch. And at this point, I'm going to, I'm completely out of my comfort zone. I'm just trying to stay focused on it, just trying to take my time, don't rush. Whatever I need, I make sure I've got it all ready. The filming takes a back step on this. I have to say, I'm only filming it on one camera. Well, no, this scene I'm not now. I'm doing two, clearly. But I'm not. There's a few stages in this where I just want to get going. Probably previously because I was rebuilding it up all the time. I was getting up out of bed, just doing it, having a couple of hours on it. But it's to look at. It's if it wasn't where it was, if it wasn't the balance wheel, you wouldn't even you just do it and not think about it. But I'm not you're not nervous about it, but you just know what particular job it is. That's me showing my staking set, which I got off eBay. And I'm just trying to introduce it on there just so it grips. And I say it's got that flange, so it just pushes in. Sometimes when you put jewels in, you have to set them to the right height. But this one you don't. It goes up to the flange. So as long as you don't deform it when you're putting it in, you damage it. But when you're taking it out, putting it in or whatever, it can only go back in that way. And you say it with my tongue in cheek, but you can't get it wrong. and it's true. It does. We'll say now. Wait till you see the figures. So it's just tapped in now. It's just holding. Using my staking set. I chose a stake which didn't touch the centre. It only went on the outer side. So I didn't want any movement in the bottom, any movement to the metal. So it just touches the outer ring of this part. I don't know what you call this part. I'd say like a jewel. What's not a jewel? Well, but whatever it is, a chaton maybe, a metal chaton. But anyway, I tap it in, tap it to the stop, and make sure it's seated flat. The only way you could get it wrong, I suppose, if this flange wasn't up against it all the way round, it would be just like this slight angle. So I just affirm that that's fully in, and by then I'm thinking, this could be something. And that's what I'm doing there, just making sure it's level, and hopefully it's all okay. Right, sorry, I had a bit of a break then. My window cleaner were here, so I had to go and pay him, and you hear him cleaning the windows. So, just final bits now. I'm just faffing around now. I just need to go, but I'm just looking for issues. But that's it. It's in, and it's time for the balance. Now there's a set. Those are the two suspect ones I told you about, but the bottom set, the DiaShock's a bit different. So I use the one out of this suspect box, and that goes right in. Little fiddling, but that's running, and I've got it. I can't believe it. So without further ado, I'm obviously cracking on. That happened in the very early hours of the morning, and I started building up the dial. I just weren't filming it. I just cracked on, and then the next day I continued, and that's why I've sort of jumped a bit. It's straightforward. I did on what I did on this one. I got the date just, and I get the day disc in, and I've got new wheels, the black ones, and they're lovely. So I thought, an old watch, it deserves black. The like steel aluminium originals, but mine weren't because it's a 7S. So I thought I'd put black ones in, and they went in a treat. Got it fixed. Everything was fine. Got them. I got them adjusted as they should. Everything's fine, and they look nice. And I still think they'd look nice in this watch. I think the older watches suit black, but we'll see. Hopefully, this new movement I've got coming is the aluminium ones. So I put these on. These are new, bought from China. I think they're for the NH24, which I thought was exactly the same, and I rapidly learned they're not. There's differences. They're not part for part, and I just thought they would be. There's the gorgeous dial. So it's time to get that on. I'm all excited now. I'm an hour away from finishing it. So I thought. So I put this on. It's a shame I can't know about being slightly off, but what's looking here, look, is the dates adjusted, but they don't line up with the window. It's working fine, but they're just slightly out. So I'm doing some swearing at this point. I love to have left the proper clip in. But it's another rebuild. This is probably about 3 days. You've got to take the front off. You've got to take all the dial side apart. And these are just 7S day and date discs. It works fine, but it's white and it just don't look right. But there was white in it when I got it, and I don't know. That's the all I've got. I'm not using the silver one because it was a silver disc, silver day, and a white, and that looked even worse. So I put them in. It's working now. Let's say it does look nice. I'm just trying to set. I think I'm trying to set the watch to midnight now because the hands are next, and I use new hands because they're a bit scabby. And this dial is, I wish you could see it properly because it looks like brand new. And again, it's 53 years old. Incredible. So while it's midnight, I put the hands on. I always find, I find the last two watches I've done, new hands from China. They can be a bit tight to get on, especially the second hand. And I'm very nervous of pushing it down and snapping the pinion. So I did struggle with this. And I used two cameras because by this point I'm calmed down. I've got the watch running, so I'm sort of back on it. But I was surprised to see it took me 48 minutes to put the hands on from starting filming to doing this. And I was going to put a red seconds hand dial on, a red seconds hand hand. And it was tight to fit on, and I'm glad I didn't because it didn't suit it. So I did change. So if you see a red one, you understand why. The hour hand went on okay, but that just tend to anyway because it's a slightly bigger hole. The minute hand was, I can't recall that being a significant issue. It just takes time. And one thing I don't like about these watches, and I've done it before on one of these, is to wind it down so it stops. Because now I set that to midnight and that's ticking away. And the speed I work at, if this was unedited, just putting this hand on is over 5 minutes. So the watch never stops, obviously, so it's going on. So it's I do set it slightly off midnight. You'll notice because the watch is running, and if you could just I don't know, like these wristwatch revivals, something like that, unless they edit it, but they just stick them on like nothing. But I'm sticking them on and lifting them off and leveling them up and fannying about. I say 45 minutes to do this bit. 48 minutes, something like that. So, so I always have to. I do rotate it to make sure that it's not jamming on anything. But then when the minute happens, you've got a lot less time to be accurate. You need to put it on. That's why watches with a hack, watches with a hack, are the ones you pull the stem out and it stops the time. They're lovely for this. Because it's okay on the second hand, you want your watch running when the second hand's running, so you've engaged it correctly. But at the minute hand, so I'm up against a time thing here. Maybe I could just put some on the balance wheel, a bit of tape or something like that to stop it. But I did struggle getting this on. I actually put a reamer in, a very fine reaming file, and I just opened it up a little bit. And once I'd done that, it went on a treat. and I do think the hands complement it very well. They're lovely colour, nice chrome colour. I like the shape. They're not modern. They're a bit retro, and they look like they were part of watch, and they look in place. It's not because this dial is in incredible condition, so they don't look a different age to the chrome on the integers. It totally looks fine. Excuse me, just had a coffee. So, a bit of faffing. I don't like doing the hands because it's the visual part. You screw up here, and people are going to see it, and it's very finicky, and I just it's not my favourite bit. I've done a few and they go all right, but I never, they never spot on. You say people just press them on and off they go. But I don't. I'm lifting them back off and tipping them a bit because they just, they're not quite in. But right, this is a good bit. This polishing the case. I've polished it up just by using my buffing wheel in the garage and a bit of Solvo Water Salt, which is fantastic chrome cleaner, and it's come up a treat. But I've took the glass out, and it's an acrylic glass. It's a plastic glass. And the beauty of them is you can, even a badly scratched one, you can get it like new. So I polished that up. I think I showed the polish on the video, and it's all new. But the case is stunning. It's really deep, a deep shine. I'm well pleased with that. And the bag, it looks like brand new. And it was in 72. So they're the plastic polishes I use, and I just rub them on the crystal. You've got a harder, a coarser one, then a fine one, and then a final cleaner one. It didn't take much doing, but there were a few bits on there. Lovely, really cleaned up well. Well happy. That's the inner ring, the face inner ring. That's very highly polished ring of metal that just fits in, and then your crystal sits down on top of that. The seal, I fannied about with it. It was a bit wobbly when I first did it. I could do with a bigger seal. I'll probably get one when I rebuild it with the right movement in. But this is just to show you how you put acrylic crystals in. That's acrylic watch glass. It's not a kind of acrylic crystal, can you? Dead easy. You just put it in, and you press that down, and it deflects, and you lift it up, put it in. I have got coming from AliExpress a more professional crystal one, because I've done some crystal ones on the Seikos, and they're glass, and I've damaged them. I damaged two. One of them was brand new. The postman dropped it off. I opened it, and 10 minutes later, it was all smashed up, which was fun. So I do want a bit more professional kit, but all I've done that is now deformed slightly, pulls it in about 0.3 of a mil, pull your watch case up onto it and take it off. Then it expands again and sits in the case and sat on a rubber gasket. I will tell you, I did this again because I did have a slight headache in it, a slight wobble, so I put a different gasket, an O-ring in, a flat O-ring in from one of a generic set I bought, and that's it in the case. I need just to put the rotor on, so I've got a larger one with an arrow indicated on, and you have to set that at a certain position. And I have to tell you now, I didn't. I think I got it right. I think you line it up with your wheel, with your reducer wheel, that pin at the top. But I need to check that, and I know that this is all coming apart again in the next 2 weeks. Well, it depends how long it takes me to get the other one running. So, and I just want to get it running now. But it runs okay, rotates free. I put a drop of oil in it on the rotor. There's no headache, it's not wobbling around. I was a bit concerned because it's got to snap back, and I didn't think it was going to clear it. It didn't look like enough clearance to me. But obviously it is. So that goes on back. And at this point, I'm oiling the bearing there. But at this point, what I should have done, I ain't put the stem in. If you look, I haven't put the adjustment stem in. And I should put that in now, because you sometimes have to line the watch up slightly. So I completely bloody forget. But all works out at the end. And then, right, so we're getting the back on, obviously. I had to muck about with getting the right seal. The one I had, I suspect, was a bit too thick, and at this point, I'm still convinced that rotor's going to catch the case. But I get it all in. It snaps shut, and it's at this point now I think, oh bugger, I forgot to put the stem in. Exactly the wrong place where it shouldn't. It shouldn't be, but I'm not taking the back off. I think if it's all lined up, it'll just shove back in. You don't have to. It snaps in short, so it's not a problem. So what I need to do is grease it. So you can see me just greasing the stem, just on a few bits for the sliding clutch, just a few spots, and then insert it. And it does go in a tree. It just pushes straight in, so that's quite good. And it's nice and flush. I'm very unlucky to bash that. Because that's the whole idea. It's just not, it's nice and flush, you don't tap it. So let's have a look at the numbers. You can see the watch, I'm just showing you a little bit just to tease you. This is the all important bit. Considering what I've gone through, what I've changed, I'm more than happy with this. The accuracy and the stability of it is amazing. I have seen the amplitude above 270, so not bothered about that at all. It's running really well. I've had it on my wrist 3-4 days. It's keeping excellent time. There's no noticeable gain at all. So really good. So let's move on to the next bit. The grand reveal. There you go. Now check that out. That is gorgeous for something as old as that, and it's so accurate. It's a fantastic watch. I'm dead pleased with it. The strap complements it well, in my opinion. I tried a stainless one on, but it didn't look nowhere near as classy. That's a really deep part. It looks almost like it's brand new. It generally does. But yeah, it's been an adventure. I got there in the end. So please drop a like in. You know the score. Look at that pretty shine on that. Honestly, I wish you could see it. Yeah, very good. So I'll give you a quick tour around the watch room. But thanks for watching. I hope you made it this long. It was a bit of a ball ache, but we got there in the end. And a like would be nice. See you next time.